Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our SEGI Virtual Career Fair. Thanks for joining our webinar today. So before we start, I hope all of you can share our live with your friends and family. So let me have a sound check. If you can hear me, please leave your comment and let me know that you can hear me clearly. Is it the background music is loud? Also, you can leave the comment, let me know. Okay. Please share. Please really hope you can enjoy today's webinar and you can share this webinar to your friends. Okay, if you have any question, please do not hesitate to leave your comment downstairs. Let me know more interaction with me with today the guest speaker. Okay, so yep, I can see the comment. Hi, Crystal. Yeah, hello. You can hear me, right? Okay. So once again, let me remind all of you, please leave your comment downstairs in the comment. We will have a Q&A section in the end. So please don't shy to ask any question. All right. So not further ado, let me introduce with you our guest speaker for today, Dr. Sati from Serene Retreat. Hi,
Hello.
Doctor.
Hello, hi Agnes. Hi, how have you been?
Yeah, good. So, hi.
Good.
So, okay. I hope it's not lacking. Everyone can see clearly, right? Yeah. Okay. So let me go to. Okay. So, hi, Dr. Sati. We are glad to have you from Serene Retreat. So yeah,
Thank you.
maybe we can how can I introduce you with the people? Maybe doctor can introduce.
Okay, hello, hi everyone. Hello, hi Sagi students. How have you all been? I know it's Bulan Ramadan and fasting month, and thank you for still joining for these sessions. And I'm really happy to join back with Sagi to give this webinar. How you can address me? You can call me as Miss Shakti. Don't need to really call me as a doctor also. Yes, currently I'm actually working as a clinical psychologist and therapist in Serene Retreat. We call it as a Serene group of companies. We have a few companies under us. This is the slide. Maybe I can explain it a bit for you all. Okay, we have 4 companies and one more 5 company just upcoming in process, but I didn't include that. But I will explain to you all later. So what am I working as here is as a senior clinical psychologist and therapist, and I'm also one of the director of Serene Group of Company. We established Serene Retreat Sabah Sendirian Berhad in 2017. Is like solely for addiction purpose. So we started in Kota Kinabalu, July 2017. And then we continued to branch out to Serene Psychology Center where we had a lot of outpatient people who's coming for other type of cases like mental illness and disorders. So we started to branch out in Kuala Lumpur, and our first center was in Chalam, Serene Psychology Center, and then we actually moved to Publica now in Publica. And yes, that was in 2018. While we are doing that, and we also had some challenges to have to fly over certain clients to KK, because Serene KK was made solely for addiction purpose, and it was inpatient facility. So during the inpatient facility, what we did was, okay, why don't we start a KL Kuala Lumpur? So we started in 2018 October inpatient facility in Bukit Damansara, and now it's known as one of the luxurious treatment center in Malaysia, and we just got an award also for the best treatment center in Asia.
Wow.
So yeah, that's the second. Yeah.
It's
And
good to hear
the
and
fourth one.
congratulations.
Thank you, Agnes. Thank you very much. And the fourth one is Serene Retreat Education Provider, where we also known as one of the panel in US, where we give education for those who is interested to learn about addiction, especially. So there's only two people in Malaysia currently that actually doing the education as an education provider. One is us and one is AADK. This means Agency Anti Kebangsaan. Yeah.
Mhm.
So these are the four companies currently, but we are operating also another branching out for Serene Clinic, where we have more patients and we have our own psychiatrists in house now, working with Serene Clinic in Publica as well. Mm, Upcoming, of course, still in processing due to the pandemic, is Serene Johor. So this is the company that I'm working currently as a clinical psychologist as.
Wow. It's so I mean, it's good to know Serene Retreat get the it's not only Malaysia, it's the Asia Award. So yeah, I mean, Miss Sati, how long you have been in this industry? As we have here that you have Sabah, KL, and then we have different centers. So how long will you are in this industry?
Okay, as a clinical psychologist, after I got, like you can't claim your clinical psychologist until you finish your master's, you see. So I finished my master's in 2014 and I started in UK itself as a clinical psychologist working in UK. I used to be working with the prisons, in prison basically, working with the criminals and obviously prisoners and all. Yeah. So being in UK in 2015, I started my journey as a clinical psychologist over there. Then now I think it's 7 years. Yes.
Ooh, okay. So let's go to our the first question. What is clinical psychologist?
And the counseling. All right. I believe everyone have this question. I mean, like confusion, especially for students who want to pursue their masters or their career life in psychology field. Psychology is basically like when we take psychology, people say, oh, you are acceptable in every places because everybody need us, like organizational psychology, we have criminal psychology, we have clinical psychology, we have education psychology. So most of the students, they tend to have this confusion. Okay, which one I should choose and which one I think I should be venturing into, those kind of questions. I totally understand the dilemma because I went through that. I was not even sure that I would have become a clinical psychologist because that I never even thought of becoming one actually. So yeah, but literally I wanted to become a psychologist, but of course when you are coming to a master's field and then you need to choose per se for a specialized on something,
Mm-hmm,
you see.
mm-hmm,
So clinical psychology, basically what they do is they diagnose into pathological cases or severe cases. For an example, into like bipolar, they have schizo, borderline personality. So those kind of things falls under clinical psychology, where they do diagnose and they create the treatment plan for them to go through sessions. While
mm-hmm,
counseling is basically they don't really work with non they actually they work with non-pathological cases, and how they do work is basically like stress, someone coming into a family conflicts, the basic counseling matters that they go into, and techniques. Obviously, they also do masters in counseling and they have a lot of practicum hours that need to fulfill. It's equally the similar kind of, it's not like, oh, clinical psychologist means you are really on top, and if you're doing masters of counseling, counselors are below. No such thing. Everybody equally professional. Everybody does their job equally for what they have learned to. Of course, for counseling, if you see, for clinical psychologists, we don't really do in detail of counseling, but we do more into therapy and more into the diagnosing what is really problem and the treatment plan for the certain
mm-hmm,
patients. So usually what we all will say, meet the counselor first. The basic step, meet the counselor first, let them do counseling sessions with you. If you have psychotic presence, and obviously we will transfer them to clinical psychologists to diagnose what is this psychotic is all about.
mm-hmm. Okay.
But for an example, if the clinical psychologist per se, they think like, okay, I think this person, individual, need to see a psychiatric. Why a psychiatric? Because the psychiatric need to prescribe medications and follow up after that with the medication. So that's how the channel goes through.
So clinical psychologists is they are focusing on adult or children because as we know we have child psychologists also. So what is
Yes.
the difference between adult psychologists and psychologists?
Okay, Agnes, for your information, I am a child psychologist, but what to do, my life, my work, everything was more focused into adult. And obviously, I have to take extra courses for that and fulfill my practicum hours to be a clinical psychologist for even consulting with adults. Of course, I have learned for my um, level of practicum hours with children's. If you see children, both also is clinical psychologist, but clinical child psychologist or clinical psychologist. That's how they click. For child, it will be a bit more for me, lah. For me, personal opinion, it's a bit more in depth, and because these children are very fragile and a lot of complexity, and we need to really be very careful who are we handling, because it's easy to mold them rather than the adult, because adult, you see the maturity and they already have this stagnant kind of um
Already formed
brains
out.
based. Yes, they already formed, but children, it's easy to form, but the challenges comes in when they tend to don't really understand what are you really talking about. So you need to have the proper interaction with children. If you don't really have the proper interaction with children, trust me, you're unable to have the trust from a child. It's very hard. But during my child psychology experience, I learned a lot about myself. So rather than being in an adult psychology, yeah.
Mhm. Okay. So the next question, what are the other party or professional that you work closely with?
Okay, we currently be working very close with AADK, the government's body of addictions, and of course, PISMA, Persatuan Psychology, Malaysia, and we working with also UTC, that is worldwide recognized UTC Colombo plan for DAP, which is basically they are from US, and they actually certify courses for students who is interested to become an addiction therapist.
Mm, okay. So I think a lot of our viewer now is want to ask how to become a clinical psychologist in Malaysia.
Okay, you need to just go to Google and
Mr.
then
Google.
type it, Miss Google, I guess. Okay, all right. You need to have your masters. Obviously, you need to complete 3,000 minimum 3,000 hour practicum hours on a professional, under supervision of professional, especially for clinical psychologists. Yes,
So the master will be very specific to clinical master in clinical psychologist.
correct.
That
Yes,
only
I
can
think
be the
HELP.
psychiatrist. Yep.
Yes, HELP University. We have UPM, USM, so UMS. They all are providing for clinical psychology specifically.
But I do believe our SEGI also we have a that ADP course we are in
Yes,
the psychologist also. Yeah. So
correct. I
going to
saw
the
that as
next, yeah, what are the important skill or knowledge that support the person to be success in this field?
well. Everyone have a different kind of skills and knowledge. But for
Mhm.
me personally, I use, of course, first thing you need to have passion. Second one is patient. Third one is persistent. So I follow these three P's all the time. So yeah, then
Patient,
comes the rest.
patient. Okay, patient.
Passion, patient, and
Mm-hmm.
persistent.
Persistent. Okay. So those who want to proceed in clinical psychology, please take note on this. Okay. So next one, yeah, a lot of a lot. The whole world actually is affected by the pandemic. So during this pandemic, how this affect to your industry? Will it be the case keep increasing or how?
Okay, during this pandemic, I think most of them was locked down at home. I think during MCO, we
Yeah.
were really working. we were really working because at that point the addiction, we because we were focused more onto addiction and it was increasing, and then mental illness. We also had, what we did is from our Serene group of companies, we actually did 24/7 online free calls. So those who are going through depression, they always can call us the online 24/7 online, and speak to us. So we was having tremendously a high, huge numbers. People are calling into us and talking to us how are they going through things, and I mean like a lot of suicidal cases. So yes,
Mm-hmm.
it didn't affect our industry, but it also has somehow, like for an example, like for the certain hospital that we are linked with panel, um, they don't accept certain cases from us because they are solely for COVID purpose. So that kind of things also, it also created a lot of dilemma and crisis among publics.
Mm-hmm. So,
Yeah.
Doctor, how you persuade, I mean, not persuade, how the people can, if they really suffer during this pandemic, what is the advice that you give to them? Are they really can look for counseling, or what is the need for you will encourage them to go for counseling or any mental health treatment?
Okay. I always will tell this in all my webinars. When you have an issue and you think you need to resolve, always seek for professional. I understand some of you all feel like, okay, I can speak to my family members, I can speak to my close friends circle. But yes, they can listen, but sometimes the answer that you needed, it won't be with them, the right answers. And that's not right or wrong, but what I feel like, the therapist and professional, they can guide you because we don't advise, we guide you. We guide you throughout the process and make sure you understand what you are going through. And when you're having talks with your family members or your friends, sometimes you tend to think, oh, they don't understand me. Obviously they don't understand what you are going through because they only can see and feel what is going through with you, but they have doesn't have the professional techniques to actually guide you. So yes.
So during this pandemic, I mean, we have a different cases. Like we have depression, we have anxiety. What I mean, the increasing or the number for each of the category, which one will be more higher? I mean, the cases.
I think during the cases time, I think from ratio, because I was the one of the on call doctor for that point, I received a lot of calls for stress and retrenchment. For an example, people who losing job, yeah, and then financial crisis, and of course students especially they call because the changes of they're going to uni, meeting people, socializing, and now it's lockdown and they need to do online everything and they don't have the interaction because there is a different kind of people like visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and all these things, right? So
Mhm.
most of the auditory people or visualized people, they tend to suffer during this, throughout this pandemic, because they cannot interact with just a solo think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. So, what is the most attractive thing that keep you in this field? As we just now can hear, you are having 7 years in this industry. What is the attractive thing?
People.
People.
People, because they are very very complex. Every individual, you see, when someone, for an example, I say somebody is coming with a depression,
Mm.
they have a lot of different things why they're depressed for. It's not like, oh, they depressed means that means sometimes they may be very lonely and isolated, so they're depressed. No, some people they could be very bubbly, very jovial, go to work and everything, but then they're depressed within. So what's going on inside that? No, the brain is very complex for every individual. So that attracts me, and always the curiosity kills a cat, right? So for me, the curiosity and challenges always keeps me in this field.
Mm-hmm. Doctor can share with us what is the challenges moment that you have experienced before.
Okay, challenges moment, there's a lot, but then I would say, okay, the interesting one maybe when you are trying to help somebody but are not ready for the help. So that is
Mm-hmm.
the main challenges that I always face, and also building a trust. You can't just go and see a therapist and you don't even know who's the person you're going to open up. You need to build the rapport, and the trust is very, very important. So um, usually when somebody come for my sessions, I will never start with the problem. I will never speak about the problem at all. So I will make sure that I have a good rapport with my clients before I do even go into a session.
So this one is the first technique that we go to section, is it?
Correct.
Build the rapport. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, what is your philosophy in life that you would share with the young generation today?
Nothing comes easy.
Nothing come easy. So our
Yes.
viewer take note.
Yeah. So you see, when you make things like you want to achieve, like in a how to say, you want to achieve it in an instant, you cannot, because it's going to be just temporary for you. You need to work ladder by ladder, step by step. I know it's going to take a long time. Some people say, oh, I don't have time, I don't have time. No such thing as no time. You start in the process. I mean, like, trust in the process. Trust the
Mm-hmm.
process, and then don't think everything for granted, and then step by step go through the challenges, break through the challenges. You will be someone like like somebody well known one day, and who knows, one day you will be talking like this in a session and giving webinars as well.
Mm-hmm. But for Seki student, if you want to do webinar, please come to me. I will guide you and I will put you in the Facebook to do the live webinar.
Agnes, you're doing a very good job, Agnes.
I think we both doing the good job. So now we want to leave the floor to the viewer. Any question? So any question, anyone to ask question, please leave your comment. Um, I will help you to screen up and doctor will answer your question. So please don't be shy. Leave your question in the comment. Okay, I saw one from Krista. Hi, may I know what is the most fascinating cases throughout your career?
I think I'm now focused very much into addiction. So it's
Mm-hmm.
very amazing how addiction scope of clients, that scope of communities, how they can be very manipulative. And sometimes you tend to understand that they are telling the truth, but actually they are not. So they can just lie to your face. So it's very difficult to actually find that cases like, are they really using? Of course the drug test is all there available, but sometimes they tend to lie about the durations of using, and you need to really be very smart enough to understand where they are coming from and where, how long they've been using. So my addiction cases are very fascinating for me.
Okay. I think Jason, we have another question. So Jason is asking, is there any internship for degree psychology graduate student open in Serene Retreat?
Definitely, we always have, like, every year we have around um 30 to 40 interns doing actually internship in our facility every 3 months. So that's usually we take around 8 to 10 students.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So student, please leave all your questions there. I will help you to screen and doctor here will answer to you. So for me, I want to ask doctor. So just now we have talked about the philosophy, the challenging, and the attractive thing. So if I'm the student, was just finished my degree, would you persuade me to go for master and I can be one of the day I can be the clinical psychology? Is it now in Malaysia the demanding for this career, is it high?
Definitely, yes. We need a lot of clinical psychologists. We do, because there's lack of clinical psychologists, and of course, it's a bit tiring and tough job, and you really need to give commitment to it. But if you really have passions to go through this field, yes, we are lack of clinical psychologists, and especially child psychologists.
Mm-hmm. So serene retreat, is it for sure you all have the treatment for the patient. Were you able to share with us what kind of treatments or any counseling service that offered by Serene Retreat?
Yes, we actually give, that's outpatient services. I think you're asking because it's more to actually we give every type, any type co-occurring disorders. We have depression, we have divorce cases, we have suicidal cases. The treatment plan will be only evaluated on the first after the first session. We don't diagnose you on the first session. We need to have at least 3 sessions to diagnose someone. So it is
Mm-hmm.
because everybody have the different kind of background. So i I do believe that we need to have at least 3 sessions. So that's the treatment plan, how does it how it works. And also we usually have 10 to 12 sessions. Some people they tend to
Mm-hmm.
stop in 3 sessions to 4 sessions. And other than that, I also like to share I'm also a hypnotherapist, so some do
Mm-hmm.
come for hypnotherapy. So yeah, that's one more another skill that I have learned myself. And DBT, CBT, on all this you want to learn in depth. You need to, if you want to make yourself skillful, you need to go through some certification courses. I'm also NLP therapist. So this is what I said. I make myself. I mean, like there's no limited age for learning. I tend to
Mm-hmm.
learn everything that's coming out now. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. True, true. So, doctor, how you get the certificate? I mean, because I saw your profile, you are a study in UK. So, if my student they want to pursue in clinical psychology, you will prefer them to go to US or UK?
I prefer them to study in Malaysia.
Ah,
If they want to
well,
become a clinical psychologist in Malaysia, I would recommend you to go you study in Malaysia. Because why? I faced a lot of challenges to become a clinical psychologist in Malaysia once I graduated from UK. So it's
mm-hmm,
basically that will be a lot of challenges for you as well when you come here, because they tend to choose people. They tend to choose people who's from who study in Malaysia as a clinical psychology. Means the first come first serve. I mean the Malaysians who study in Malaysia will get the opportunity to become a clinical psychologist in any field in Malaysia.
mm-hmm,
So I
mm-hmm.
had a lot of trouble, and I was seeking for job nearly for 2 years to become a clinical psychologist in Malaysia. So it's a bit
Oh,
difficult. I was a counselor in Segi University first. So yeah.
wow! Proud to become Segian, right? All right, so
Yes, yes.
we have the question for Mia Lee. What would you advise on student who isn't sure on what specific area of psychology to focus on? Mia was actually interested in child psychology and also abnormal psychology, but I can't decide. So, doctor, any advice to Mia?
Okay. We also give this kind of question. Some students also they come for actually counseling session because they become very stressed. And they want to tend to find out, okay, what do I really need to scope to, which is my professionalism. We do career assessment for certain people. So what we do is for you, merely you need to find out what is your passion about. The passion in about abnormalities, or you want to do with a children's. Because there are children's with abnormalities as well. So it depends on what you trying to choose. You need to specify yourself and try to list down what is your scope. Who do you really want to work with, adult or only children? Or abnormalities, you're talking about what type of abnormalities that you are looking into. So you try to list down, and then I think you will get your answer.
I hope Mia get the answer. So next one will be Xia Mei asking, can psychology course work as physical assistant? Physical
Physical
assistant,
assistant means like, I'm sorry,
yeah,
I'm not sure what you mean by physical assistant.
yeah. I also want to think about what is physical assistant. In
Yeah,
you mean in
what physical assistant you're talking about? I'm not sure. Is this a
mhm.
physician you're talking about?
uh, maybe
You cannot become a
Mm.
physician because you need to study physics, physician. I mean that department. Psychology can be assistant psychology. That's where I started as well, assistant psychologist. So you can become an assistant psychologist, but and psychology coursework as physical assistant. Yes, that means you're trying to say is psychology coursework studies. You mean masters in coursework, is it? You can become an assistant psychology if you do coursework. And yeah, one more thing, if you do masters, you need to do research, not coursework. If you do coursework, it's only 1 year. So you need to do extra skilled hours to become a registered clinical psychologist.
How to become registered psychologist in Malaysia?
You need to, of course, there's Malaysian PISMA, Persatuan Psychology Malaysia. We have Clinical Psychology Malaysia. You can actually send to them all your practicum hours, your degree certifications. I think they will register you under the board. There's a body for in Malaysia itself. Yeah.
Okay. Jackie was asking, do you think counselor, psychiatry, or psychologist has better career prospect? Yeah. Counselor,
Um,
psychologist, and psychiatry.
I mean, if you're really passionate about it, obviously your future will be bright, lah. So it all depends. It's not about only these professions have a career prospect in Malaysia, but in Malaysia, obviously, we need a lot of psychiatrists. If you think about it, I think we need a lot of psychologists.
Mm-hmm.
Lack of we have psychiatrists because they're medical doctors, they're becoming a psychiatric. We have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
counselors nowadays, but we are lack of psychologists. And all of these three also, they have a very better career prospect in any field that they're going. It also depends on the individual itself. Like what I'm saying is, if I'm a psychiatric, if I'm going to do really well in my field, then of course I will have that career. Like I'm the clinical psychologist, very little clinical psychologist in Malaysia, and a very rare you can meet clinical psychologists. If you really need to, I would say you need to develop yourself. Don't stop this
Mm.
because you already graduated. Don't stop there. Go move forward. Try to make yourself skillful, learn more, and then you can actually work with all your patients and your juniors, whoever coming training under your intern. They will also learn something. Why I started this training of internship, because when I was going through internship program at that point of time, I was really suffering because as what I have learned, I don't really get what I want in the internship field. But but thank God I also got a very good internship at, I'm talking about certain people in my batch last time. They didn't get a real channel, right channel. But I got a very right channel at that point time itself. So yes, develop
Mm-hmm.
yourself.
Yeah. Next question from Michael was, what are your advice to convince parent to let me study psychologist? Maybe Michael is suffer now. He want to pursue psychologist, but he need to convince the parents.
Oh, Michael. Okay. Um, I had that problem as well, Michael. So high five.
High five
So my
too.
I went to, okay. My mom didn't allow at first. Actually, when I wanted to do criminal psychology. So my mom like, no way. So yeah, she was more into fear that I might get threatened or in a risky job. But my passions towards to do psychology, because I love to give advice when I was young. So I thought that is good for me to do a psychology. So well, the convincing part, you need to look into what you really happy about. So you need to sit with them and explain why are you happy doing psychology? How? I mean, not why, how are you happy doing psychology? Maybe you need to I don't know what they want you to become, because we have certain family members, family milieu that they usually follow. I need my child to become a doctor. I need my child to become a lawyer. All these things. But would that make you happy? Will you complete? Will you successfully complete the program? So you need to think for yourself and then stand firm on what you really want to do. And of course, once they allow you to do it, and you need to complete and prove it. to yourself that you are really a good psychologist.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, any more questions? Do you let me check whether I have other question, student or the viewer. I hope we can answer you. We are really answer you the question, and I feel that I get a lot of information, knowledge from the doctor. So yeah, any more questions? Since I think no. So yeah, thank you, doctor. So thank you,
Thank you,
Dr.
Agnes. Thank
Sasi.
you.
Yeah, thank you for your time to share your wonderful experience and knowledge. I believe our viewer they are getting so much of informative from you, how to become a clinical psychologist in Malaysia and how to convince the parent to let them to study psychologist. I think is a good section with you with this afternoon. So
Thank you
yeah,
very
Mia.
much, Agnes, for
Mhm.
having me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Mia also say, oh, very informative. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Mia.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome,
So,
Crystal.
before we end, we have introduction video from Serene Retreat. So let's
Yep.
have a view. Wow, it's such a wonderful video that we can see the area is so peaceful, it's so nice. So those audience or student, if you really hope you can get the chance to intern in Serene Retreat, please contact with us. For those who are seeking for the treatment, please get in touch with doctor. Okay, so once
Sure.
again, yeah, thank you, Dr. Sakti, for joining our webinar today. So for the audience, please, we will have the lucky draw for today webinar. So how you gonna win this lucky draw? It's quite easy as you have learned a lot from this webinar. The question will be what are the difference between clinical psychologist and counseling? Please leave your answer in the comment. We will pick up from there, and yeah, you will be the winners. Okay, so please leave your answer below to answer what is the difference between clinical psychologist and counseling. All right. So yeah, thank you, Dr. Sati. Thank you. It's our pleasure to have you to share with us. So
Thank you, Agnes. Thank you very much for having me. And thanks for the opportunity once again to meet all the SEGI students and give this webinar. All right.
all right. Thank you, everyone. So goodbye.
Thank you, all the participants. Thank you very much. Take care and see you.
See you. Bye.